traceability. All machine and equipment exchanges must be identified and tracked throughout the production process. And last is clause 8.7, control of non-conforming output. All equipment must have procedure and must be documented and comply with legal and regulatory requirement. So we go to the next clause for Johan.
The next clause 9, which is performance evaluation. So in this clause 9, we have two sub-clauses. 9.11, which is the clause analyzes monitoring performance methods and how these results are validated and how results are evaluated, understood to determine the effectiveness of QMS. Next sub-clause 9.1.3, the degree of conformity to international and internal standards are monitored by analyzing the data extracted by various monitoring methods. Next clause 9.2, we also have two sub-clauses, 9.2.1, in which the clause reviews internal requirements set by the QMS and other standards that are effectively met and maintained. Next sub-clause 9.2.2, the clause helps to get an understanding of the planning method, scope, frequency, and how the audit is to be improved. Now I pass on to Nafisa.
So for the next class, and also the last class, so we're going to check the improvement at the lab, safety lab. So the first class, which is 10.1 general, which is we want to find the improvement that should be made to the lab process and equipment uses or safety based on work experience or feedback from the student. And then for next class, non-conformities or respond to the lab issue, which is when a problem occur in the lab, such as error equipment or equipment failure, it must be correct quickly and effect must be made. And for the last one, cause identification and prevention, which is we want to find the root cause of a problem should be identified and steps should be taken to prevent it from happening again. And for the last, so for the next session, which is we open question to Miss Class, what we going to do when the actual audit? Is there any Miss want to ask us, or you want we to prepare to you?
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I'm Sharifah Nur Jamila. I'm working in Department Lab and Workshop. My role is as a technician at Warehouse Fleet 2, Mechanical and